Hey, Lunch with Legends. This isn't some Zoom meeting. We're live. We're by the airports. It's raw as it gets, right? You can hear all sorts of this stuff. Okay, it's Lunch with the Legends. It's awesome. How do I know about the Wi-Fi? I don't know. Sometimes the Wi-Fi's on 1 bar. Sometimes it's on 4. I ask them for it and they go, hey, we don't have any. Whatever. That's what we do. It's raw as it gets. Richard Zagars. So when we last left off on the ad, but as we were speaking about his favorite bike to wheelie, he said the JMC. So if you're one of those wheelie freaks, grab the JMC. According to Richard Zagars, it's the best one to have. All right? So, Holly Dunn's watching. All right, so here we're back. We're talking about wheelies, and we're going to move on. Richard Zagars is here. All right. It happens. You know what I mean? It happens. Life ain't perfect. We're not on some Zoom. We're doing it live. Anyway, so the best wheelie bike is the JMC, is that right?
For me it was, yes.
And how long have you ever recorded a wheelie?
I think that at one time in Burbank here, I think I wheelied probably half a mile, 3/4 mile up Glen Oaks Boulevard. I was fortunate enough to have buddies with me to stop all the traffic signals and stop people. So yeah.
Nice. And were you on a JMC or you were? JMC, the best wheelie bike according to Richard Zagars. So, and that was in my notes to talk about your wheeliness. So when we last left off, you were at the tail end of Schwinn, right? This is what I was told by Mark Rink. What goes on after Schwinn?
I think that that's when I go with Raleigh.
Okay, yeah. Right. So if you guys missed the Raleigh part, Raleigh is with Toby, satellite team with Toby and Jeff, and the Christophers. And we were he's on a Raleigh, right? And we were talking about the Raleigh it wasn't known for its nimble handling by any means. And you went from a Schwinn, so you went from like the
geometry was much different, the weight was much different.
But you didn't care, you were just racing, it didn't matter.
Right.
Which is amazing, right?
What we wanted to do.
That's amazing. So how long's the Raleigh deal? And do you travel with them or?
Not long, no, not nationally.
Okay.
Maybe a couple, Vegas races and stuff.
Oh wow, okay.
Nothing cross country or anything until after I want to say get to Scorpion.
We got to talk about Scorpion because that's it's a very interesting thing, right? Like the Scorpions. Talk to me about the whole Scorpion program. Who ran it and what was it all about for people?
Well, there was an owner. His name was Paul, and Bobby and Cenas kind of brought them to the forefront locally.
Okay.
The local bike maker out of Chatsworth, and Byron became part of the team, and Malin Abrams and myself and a couple other kids, and it was probably the first year that they wanted to make a mark on the BMX scene, so they had they sent us out on a tour, the Scorpion tour, and set up clinics and stuff, which was just amazing.
And were they based? They were based out of SoCal, or were they?
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah, the factory was. It was either Chatsworth or Northridge.
Wow.
One of the two.
Which was home to everybody, right? At that point, Redline and everybody. Yep. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, I thought the uniforms were cool. I thought the colors were cool.
Yeah.
How were the bikes?
Bikes were awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, bike was incredible. I mean, that specific year that I started with them couldn't have been a better year in my racing.
Okay.
Every time I got on the line, I won. So.
Wow. And you're doing the clinics. That helps, right? You're teaching.
That was unbelievable. And I mean, it probably was the beginning of the national scene of my racing.
And Malin was killing it back then.
Yeah, he was actually not far into the sport, but he was a natural. He was good.
Wow.
He was good.
Yeah, I've been told that too. Like he would just train like a beast.
Yeah, he was good, and I mean that comes from probably he was an extremely good motocrosser on a motorcycle.
Okay.
So those fundamentals, you had.
And it's a slower speed. You're like, hey, I'm not really going that fast. Can't be that bad. Yeah,
just go for it.
Then go for it, exactly. Yeah, because we had a little bit of Scorpion representation in Jersey. We had Mark Lopez was on the team back there, and you look at the bikes and they weren't low end really. They made a high end bike, right?
It was well, they had the ones that we rode, which they made specific to what we liked, but they also had a brand that they were trying to get out to the local scene.
Okay.
That weren't very extremely expensive, and it was they were trying. I think they went on for a few years, but I think I rode for them for probably a year and a half.
Oh wow, okay.
It wasn't a real long ride, but probably I want to say probably one of my best sponsors.
Wow, that's amazing. So did you guys get contingencies back then or anything? Or
I would not get anything from anybody. My mom, her dream was for me to race 10 speeds in the Olympics, and so she always wanted me to keep amateur status.
Okay.
So I was always there was not all I did was ride.
Right. Okay.
Give me my product and I ride.
Yeah.
There was no contingencies.
Did you have a track that you enjoyed looking back? One that you did well on all the time, or one that blew you away that was real cool? Because I have a story coming up already about you at an instance on the track. But did you have a personal favorite track that you liked?
I can't recall right off the top of my head that a specific track. Probably Corona.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, I love the downhills.
Nice.
And Corona was quite a downhill because it had a lot of the speed at the beginning, and then it was very technical. In certain areas and stuff like that. So you had a combination of everything. And it was fun.
Yeah. No, it has to. Corona has to be in the top 2 best tracks of all time. Has to be. I don't even know what would be in front of it, but I'm just guesstimating.
Yeah.
Someone might go, well, this one. But I feel it has to be in there.
Yeah, Corona was quite a scene. It would get quite a turnout.
Yeah. That's crazy. And it was it originally a motorcycle thing, or was it just
it was a park, kind of an area that was kind of a park like Saddleback Park and El Toro and all that, where you can go out and ride motorcycles.
Wow.
And then the track was right in the middle of the areas, the hills where you can.
No better photographed track in the history of BMX than Corona, because there was always that looming in the back starting gate, and you're like, that can't have been where they started, right? And then, they come through the turn and they're sliding through the corners, everyone's wide open. Such great photos from Corona. The track I was thinking of, I remember you the most through everything was Devonshire Downs.
Oh, yeah.
Because Tommy landed on your back in one of those giant doubles. It was a photo sequence, yeah. Which is really cool.
That was one of the later tracks that the early on Devonshire track was probably one of the ones I liked.
It was local in a way for you, right?
Yeah, and we would go. That was through my later years of amateur and into pro, and the Devonshire track was where we went and did starts.
Oh, okay.
So the national riders, would show up for starts and practice. And that's it.
Yeah.
Which we got, ample opportunities to ride that track and be ready for it and all that stuff.
So from Scorpion, do you go? Is the profile the next?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
because that's huge. That's where you go from amateur to pro status. And
profile I rode the first year as 17 expert.
I remember that.
Yeah,
so here's the thing, right? So there. This is just my opinion. There were great amateurs that never turned pro. There were great pros that were average amateurs, right? Then they get the money and they go, okay. But it's to find someone that started like you at that age, so young, to go all the way through amateur, factory, turn amateur to pro, factory, and do well. Mikey King's a guy that did that. I mean, a lot of people did, but it's not easy.
No, it's not. And you certainly through those you go through lulls where there is no factory support. You got to find your way through the sport.
Yeah.
And you know, when you have family behind you and all that stuff, that's where that all comes in. But there were certainly times where yeah, there was no support.
And then the motivation has to stay there.
And you
yeah.
got to keep with it, and things come along.
Yeah. We would shower on golf courses, and we'd sleep in stairwells of hotels and get out early so that no one would see us, just to survive. And then you make the meeting, you go, I got $50. Oh, that paid the entry for my next, you know, it was survival, which is cool. But you gain friendships along the way. You go to the buffet dinners, you pull out your buffet plate. Hey, it's your chance to eat for free, or you know what I mean? It was
that's all
the survival was pretty good.
Things that make it worthwhile.
Yeah. How do you go from Scorpion to Profile? How's that go down?
I had a very good year with Scorpion, and that following year, Profile was trying to really make a dent in the scene, and they were around, but they were mostly out of Florida. Had the NBL scene going on, and so they picked up Eric Root, picked up myself at the same time. So Eric was the pro, and I was 17 expert, and I raced 1 year amateur with him, and then turned pro after that. And Eric went off to Mongoose, but from Scorpion, just kind of one of those things where it just kind of presented itself in the off season, you know, after the Grand Nationals in Pittsburgh, and I went for it.
Wow.
It was quite a change.
Okay.
Quite a change. It was a different scene where it didn't include a lot of the local scene that I was in with the way Scorpion was and the Schwinn and stuff like
But a
that.
Profile guy in California is, well, Sean Riblett was too, but it's a rarity, right? Like, because they're so East Coast based.
They're out of St. Pete.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a wonderful time. It was a great thing, but I had never been sponsored by someone other than Schwinn that I had to be affiliated in Florida.
Yeah. But how about the Profile bikes? They're so good.
Great.
So good.
Great.
You know what I mean? Would Profile have been one of your favorite bikes to ride in your career?
I'd have to say, yeah.
Because they just were cool. Like I wanted one. Like they looked, the geometry looked pretty cool, and they were chrome. They looked super nice, and the white ones looked good.
They had great, you know, cranks, and they started producing hubs and all that stuff. So they were trying to produce a whole bike, and you know, they did well.
Yeah. And that's where I think, I mean, because the magazine coverage was super huge back then, 83, 45-ish. And you were all over the magazines, man, full page colors and everything.
Had times.
Yeah. Because I remember a couple of pictures. I was like, man, they had the 09 stuff, which I thought was cool at the time, wrist wraps and the plates, and your plates were always flat and perfect. You know what I mean? I remember.
It was that was one of the things was attention to detail. Okay. And BMXers know that, between stickers and all this other stuff that is you know, makes up your
psychology, right? Because if you go, oh, my brake pad's rubbing, like everything's got to be perfect, and then you can give 100%. Yeah.
So everybody had their thing. And mine was probably, you know, those details. Yeah, and those details show, because I put a picture up for this particular episode, and it was one of my favorites. You were just like, it was like, how do you? So was the rest of the team wasn't 09, right? They were like JT or something. Yeah, it started out. I was with JT, or actually I take that back. I was with Haro. I was riding Haro when we started with Eric Group and me, and then I was going to go with JT, and that's when Eric left, and just kind of things kind of changed around, and Kevin from 09 approached me, and I just decided, you know, now that I'm pro, I'm going to make my own path, and so on. Oh, okay. That's where 09 came in.
Because you get that side cash too, right?
Yeah, the contingency and all that stuff, and that's where JT they had quite a few riders that they had throughout other teams that they were sponsoring. So it was one of those things that I had to make a choice of.
It looked good. I think it looked good. The gloves with the wrist wraps were pretty cool.
Yeah, they had a very innovative, product going on, stylish.
Yeah.
A lot of time, a lot of stuff back then, people wanted to pick up on the motocross scene. The big plates.
Yeah.
Like Haro came out with the big plates, the big numbers.
Which I think looked great. I mean, I'm racing modern. I'm like, give me a plate I can.
Yeah.
I'm a crib plate guy.
And then, the sponsors liked it because you can put all their advertisement all over your plate.
Yeah. Much more visible than today's guys. Yeah. I barely see who are they riding for. Everything in the '80s. Was
everything
perfect.
is sleek and tucked in, and it's gotten that way with motorcycles and motocross.
True.
You used to be a billboard, walking billboard.
Yeah, and the pants are like skinny jeans now. instead of having the you could hear them. I remember walking through the pits, right? You heard that the nylon, right?
Yep.
But now it's like I can't. I actually wear an Oakley mask to this day.
Oh, okay.
I know you're not supposed to in modern because it's all full face. I can't. I got to keep it real. So I run the Oakley mask. We got some Max pants for Bill Ryan.
There you go.
So I'll run the Max pants, and I'm keeping it real as long as I can.
That's great. That's
Keeping
great.
it real. So what's this is 747 passes. Hey guys, Burbank Airport. What do you want me to do? Stop the planes? Let me see. Let's jump out. See what the fans are saying. Jason Chang always watches. Thank you so much. You and Holly are like my 1 and 2.
Jason?
Yep. There you go. So, in summary of your entire career, what was the highlight of, man, it doesn't get any better than this? Do you have a moment that was the highlight of your career? I like this because you're giving it some thought.
I really don't recall any specific thing that this is. I just enjoyed the people, and so I tried to keep it real all the time and enjoy every aspect of it. But certainly things like winning the world championships.
You got it. I was going to say that, but I was going to let you say it.
Winning, I'd have to say maybe. So I made a deal with the owner of Profile. If I win the Grand Nationals as a 17X, you're going to let me turn pro, right?
Okay.
And so that was the deal. We won it, and that was currently a big highlight.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, your reputation, this goes through a couple people I talked to, and I had some people post on this too. Like, when Rich Zagars hit you, it was like a Mack truck. Do you consider yourself a physical rider?
Yeah, I
certainly.
was.
As a finesse, I see you more as I'm in fourth. I'm going to protect this. If you hit me, you're going down, or I'm in fifth and you're going out fourth. I'm going to clean you out. That was more your style, I would imagine.
I went through a phase where, like, early on, I was. It was more because I was a smaller guy and tried to be, clean and make moves finesse wise. And then you go through a phase. You get later on. You get bigger and stuff.
And pro in Double A,
it's very.
You got to do your thing, right?
It's very demanding. You've got to hold your ground and stuff like that. So, say you go through periods where it's finesse, and then sometimes it's kind of bullying.
Because I've heard that from a couple people. Like, oh, I remember him hitting me like a truck.
I could have had that in me. It just depended on the situation, and I never wanted to be known as a dirty rider.
Right. You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
You got to stand your ground. And through the years of growing up with Ronnie Anderson, you'll learn a few things.
Sure, of course. So we'll finalize on this because your mom's dream was for you to do the Olympics.
Yeah.
Road. Was it velodrome or was it just road?
Criterium racing.
Okay.
So it was interval cross country. So it wasn't open like Tour de France. It was Criterium is basically on a loop.
A circuit.
A circuit.
Yeah.
Correct. And so when I was with Schwinn, she was trying to work with, the people there and trying to get me some backing through trying to see a future.
Oh, wow, that's great.
And
That's
so
cool.
it started to flourish, and then when I went to Raleigh, they supplied me with a 10-speed.
Wow.
Because Schwinn had got me involved with a satellite team out of California here that was affiliated with Eric Hayden, the
Wow.
speed skater and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Going
the
back to the
things
skating
were-
days.
There you go. The
It
thing
all goes
was,
back to figure skating,
they were
guys.
beginning to set up, but I was just too young. And the commitment, I was getting up at 5 in the morning at 15 years old and having to go out and train in Griffith Park and stuff. It took a lot of commitment, and I just wasn't necessarily there. Raleigh tried to help me with it,
Which is great, right? That's cool.
Yeah.
They saw beyond the.
but it fell through.
What would have happened, right? You know what I mean? So there's a story floating around. I'm gonna finalize with this one. I said I had some zingers for you. Right?
Uh-huh.
We'll finish with this one. It's been told that you. Yep.
Thank you.
It's been told that you broke your wrist. You didn't tell your mom, and you faked a crash so that you're. Can we elaborate on this story? I'm not gonna tell you where I got this from. This story, but you know exactly where I got this story from. So what happens with this wrist-breaking incident?
Yeah, so it goes in junior high. I'm going for points in Southern California.
Okay.
Me and Bobby and Cenas are completely locked up in this points race. And we used to race bikes before classes in the morning. Because we
Race
had,
like official races?
yeah,
or
the
just,
kids would show up with bikes, and we would have motos
That's
and
great.
stuff before school started, because we had slopes at the school and stuff. And so we'd have jump contests and so on. And one morning, at school, tried to jump trash cans
Okay.
over the handlebars, break my wrist. And my mom was very adamant on doing well with these points.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And that don't take any risks, because we're at the end of the season, and don't take any risks. And so
So you knew it was broken as soon as you hit it.
Anyway.
Yeah, it gets done. Okay.
So I go through school. They come home, wrap it in a heating blanket,
Yep.
make it worse, and go to the Van Nuys Youth Center. And
How you doing gate starts with this
it's
thing?
one of those things where you just kind of grab on, and you don't release until you have to, because the
Okay.
pain is excruciating. So yeah, it comes to the first moto, and there happens to be a crash in the first turn, and I put myself in it, and that's where I broke my wrist.
But how do you go in? How do you mentally go into a crash with a broken wrist? Going, this is not going to turn out. How do you brace yourself? Like
It's just
foot out and just fall over.
it just happened.
Gotcha.
It presented itself, and that's the way it went down. And to this day.
See, I didn't want to say this because she might watch this, and I didn't want to ruin the story. But hey, if this has been would have been what 40 years at this point. So
Yeah, but
I don't want to get you in trouble,
No,
Rich. I'm just
no,
saying.
no,
If she
but-
doesn't know.
No,
Tell her to cut
she's
this
gone.
off.
Bless you.
Okay.
But it turns out that even though it all went down, we're chasing points, we still race. So you did the injury,
Yep.
you're going to have to live with it, you're going
Yeah.
to have to ride. Because in those days, when we broke, wrists and hands,
Yeah.
Mom would modify the cast.
And I remember somebody going in, because I'm a nut with these statistics. I think Brian Barlow, Jag Pro, went in and said, "Listen, I got this. I mow lawns for a living. Can you really form it so I can keep mowing lawns?" And they did, and it was only to race beam. I said,
Yeah.
nothing to do with mowing lawns.
Yeah, no,
See,
that's what
we're a hard generation, Richard. We're a hard generation. These kids in these video games today, they have no idea about faking a broken wrist. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, the
Big,
same.
big fan of your career.
Thank
I
you.
still know all those parts on your profile. It's no big deal. Plates were perfect. But anyway, it's been awesome. And if you guys loving the content, subscribe, please. That always helps. Like, leave a comment. I'll tell Richard about the comments. And it was a pleasure having him on. I watched his career and read all the magazines and know all these pictures about him. getting landed on by Tommy Brackett and the Devonshire
Yeah.
Downs. Who remembers that kind of stuff? I do, because I love it. But thank you so much for joining us, and it was a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, John. It's been a pleasure being with you guys.
All right, everybody. You know the drill. Get out and ride. See you later.